What's up, everybody? Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm continuing the Indiana Jones-A-Thon. We're now up to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now, this one's a 1984 film, and this one continues. This one actually, for a sequel, it actually takes place before the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark. This one. The first Raiders of the Lost Ark took place in 1936. Right here, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom took place in 1935, a year before Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, it began. This one is considered like a fan favorite in the Indiana Jones franchise, which I certainly agree with. It's definitely a fun movie to watch. It's definitely as out there as Raiders of the Lost Ark for me. And it's the one. This time, it starts off like when it's on when they were in Shanghai. And the funny story is, the nightclub is called Club Obi-Wan. Yes, you heard correctly, Club Obi-Wan, because George Lucas is the brainchild of both Star Wars and Indiana Jones. So there are a couple of Star Wars references in the Indiana Jones franchise. In the, example in Raiders of the Lost Ark, has a hieroglyphic that look like C-3PO and R2-D2, which that's your Star Wars reference over there. And Obi-Wan was called, and the nightclub is called Club Obi-Wan, which is named after Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's right. And it's also the first movie to feature actor Ke-Huy Quan, which the first movie I've seen him in was The Goonies, which you may have known him as Data from The Goonies. Yeah, that's right. He's that little boy and now he's famous in stuff like Everything Everywhere All at Once right now. And now he's in more stuff nowadays. He's also recently on Loki from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's nice to see him in more stuff nowadays, after he's been slept on for a long time. So anyway, back to the movie. The movie began when Indy is in the nightclub, making a deal with a mobster, Lao She. But eventually they end up escaping him. And so they end up landing. And while they were traveling, they also have this girl called Willie, which she does have some annoying parts here and there, but there are parts where she had some funny parts, and she had some parts where she's really funny too, especially after they crash landed out of the plane, and when they crash landed on the plane, and their plane crash landed in India. And the plot is that India had kids that had disappeared, and you find out why they disappeared. So they end up traveling to this sacred temple, and right when they arrived, and right when they're on their journey, they had a moment where Indy and Short Round, which is played by Ke-Huy Quan, that him and Short Round were playing cards, and Willie, he's getting scared of certain stuff, like an owl or vampire bats. She had a funny moment with an elephant, saying that he needed a bath, and tries pouring perfume on him, which that didn't work out well. And right when they arrived at this castle, they end up having a feast, having a banquet with the people that working around there. And they end up having some weird dishes, like the snake surprise, which is a corpse of a big snake, and inside had bugs in it. And there's a soup with eyeballs, and there was this dish that had a monkey's head, and they cut open the skull right here, and they were eating their brains. Like, it's very hard to watch. It's definitely a hard scene to watch. I will definitely say that. It's really fucked up. So then, and then Indy and friends eventually discovered like a hidden fortress. And it's called the Thuggee ceremony. And they were worshipping a deity called Kali, which is this evil deity, god, that they worship in India. And the Thuggee is that the Thuggee ceremony was led by Mala Ram, which is this main villain, who is the cult leader. And they had this statue that called Kali, which is an idol that they were worshipping. So, and the worst thing about it is that one of their victims, that poor victim, is that the bad guy Mala Ram did some kind of a spell that like sticks his hand through the chest right here and actually took his heart out, which was like bizarre, which is really intense for a PG-13 rated film. And after that and there's this guy who was the victim. He says that he was chanting, he's devoted to Lord Shiva, which is the name of which is the god of light in Egypt. I mean, not light in India. So as that he was dunked down into lava, the heart gets set on fire. So Indy ends up stealing the treasure that's part of that, but then ends up getting captured. So Indy and friends end up getting captured by the Thuggies. And as that he was taken prisoner, they forced him to drink out of the chalice of a Thuggy, and that's when he got possessed. And unlike Raiders of the Lost Ark, this one is like a little darker compared to the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, that's how when they had moments where they ripped his heart out, which, not like horror movie, but damn. So then there was also this little boy and also one of the members of the cult was a little boy, and when he was possessed, he was torturing Indy with a voodoo doll. So then Short Round was taken into slavery by those little kids, and all the little kids were being forced into work in the mines. Oh man, those poor children. And you end up feeling so sorry for them. Like, one of them even escaped from the slavery and came back like all dizzy and starving, like lightheaded. That's when you end up feeling bad for those children. So, and then when Short Round finally got out of slavery, and he finally freed Indy from possession by setting him on fire. And then he finally broke free. So Indy ends up facing the slave captor and gets into a fight with the captor, while Short Round gets into a fight with the little boy who was pinning Indy with the doll. And as when Short Round finally breaks him free, the boy ends up regaining consciousness. And he told him, "Listen, to get out, you got to go through the left tunnel." So Indy ends up freeing the kids, and while Willie and Short Round got taken hostage by Molaram, their final confrontation was on the rickety bridge, and underneath was a crocodile pit, which that's also horrifying. Oh yeah, before that, Indy had a funny moment where he ends up getting into fights with the two bad guys, and he was getting ready to get his gun, open his holster, and get his pistol, and he realized the gun, his pistol is missing still, and he's like this, and he started laughing like, but instead he ends up using a sword, and he ends up winning the fight. But then when he tries scaring him off, and the group of bad guys end up coming after him, and he ends up running away from them. So he meets face to face with Molaram one last time on the rickety bridge. So then they made a strategy of taking down Molaram and his thugs. Say it's time you meet Kali in hell. So many of Molaram and his thugs, and many of Molaram's thugs fell to their death. So then after a short round and Willie got out of safety, Molaram ends up facing Indy one last time, and oh my god, during the final battle, Molaram tried to rip Indy's heart out, and successfully got him, and he successfully broke free of that. And then Molaram ends up meeting his demise by getting eaten by crocodiles, and that's the end of him. So then it ends and so it ends their journey where they made it back to the village, and all the little kids end up returning back to their homes. Happy ending for all the kids. And all the kids were all thankful. That ends up showing their appreciation by going up to Indy and hugging up to him, thanking him for saving them and stuff. And that's the end of that one. So, would I recommend Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Absolutely. This one definitely has like a darker, twisted tone than Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's a fun adventure, and it's truly worth all the watch. And as always, and stay tuned for more of the Indiana Jones-A-Thon. Next up, we'll be talking about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And that's all I have to say, folks. And as always, stay awesome, my Monster Masters, and I'll catch you later. Bye!